Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's broadcast here on Work TV of the GGR Oregon Diecast Indycar Series here at Phoenix Raceway. As we're here for today's event, the Worry About the Exit When You Get There 100. As make a quick reminder here, go check out Oregon Diecast on Instagram. That is the official series sponsor of GGR. Go check out Oregon Diecast at Oregon Diecast on Instagram. I'm joined here today in the broadcast booth by Quentin Haley, just as it was last week. Quentin, uh, we just finished qualifying. You got to watch a little bit of it prior to this broadcast. What are some of your thoughts as we are going to take a look at the grid here? Quentin.
Yeah, qualifying was a bit of a mess for some of those drivers. I saw quite a few of them clipping the apron. I think that's just going to be a key, just like it was last week at Texas, of making sure you don't get those left side tires onto the apron. But there's a lot of speed out there. The field is pretty close together. We got a lot of talented guys out there tonight. So I'm looking forward to a good race.
All right, and well, let's kick off the starting lineup here. Starting in pole position here is defending series champ Blake Kennedy. To his outside is going to be Anthony Sharps in the 92. Row 2 inside, we're going to have Garrett A. White and Jay Mulder to his outside. That is a Nova Sim Racing Row 2. Be on the lookout for those guys. Ryan Martin, P5. Ethan Harrison, P6. Brady Cox, P7. And Ethan Workman rounding out the top 8.
In P9, we have Dimitri Munderos, P10, Austin Duran, P11, Justin Haley, P12, Nick Pena, P13, Ryan Ayers, P14, Bob Shoemaker, 15th is Jaden Carter, and rounding out 16th is Aaron Griffin.
P17, RJ Starcevic. P18, Aiden Oxidine. 19th position, Aiden Rake. And rounding out the top 20 and the first of your drivers to not put down a qualifying time here in today's event, Josh Patterson. 21st, Vincent Cortez. 22nd, Paul Granada. 23rd, Franco Cacciola. And somehow Quentin managed to end up as a driver on the track as well. So he'll line up P24. And rounding out the field in 25th is going to be Jack Leslie in the 37. So we have more IndyCars than we had last week, Q, and I'm really interested to see, what do we think the racing is going to be like? Last week we were at Texas Motor Speedway. It was very much almost like a NASCAR restrictor plate race. Lots of full throttle racing, lots of guys working together in groups. What do you think we're going to see here today at Phoenix in comparison to the fact that, for one, we're going from a 1.5 mile D-shaped oval to a very more flat 1 mile oval here in Phoenix?
Yeah, so last week at Texas, a lot of our drivers were wide open throttle pretty much the whole entire lap, and there really wasn't enough tire wear to really facilitate a lot of lifting and braking, and you were mostly just utilizing the draft, whereas here at Phoenix, like you said, it being more of a flat track, I think you're going to see a lot more lifting. You're going to see a lot more importance on the runs out of the corner.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing that I've heard from some of the drivers leading up into this week, some of the guys who've ran some practice laps here, is that in turns 3 and 4, if you happen to get any bit of that apron, you are not going to fare very well. Your IndyCar might be going around here. So very interesting here to see what these guys will have for Phoenix here, as Blake Kennedy. He had a little bit of a rough week last week. Had a little bit of a moment in the top 5, but just couldn't really pull out the win that he wanted. So for him to start pole, really good. Last week's winner, Jay Mulder, starting P4. Watch out for him. He's had a rough week himself personally. So we're hoping that he can overcome those personal struggles that he's had this week, and hopefully he can bring home another win here. As the pace truck pulled into pit road, and we are green flag here at Phoenix. Anthony Sharps lays back, and Jay Mulder's on the throttle here, and we already have a wreck. Oh.
A lot of chaos early, a lot of drivers taken out by that. Luckily, they have a fast repair, but that's a lot of carnage pretty quickly.
We are going to pull up the work replay here, and we are going to take a look and see what just happened. I don't really know. Apparently apparently the iRacing software can't even quite tell us what happened. I mean, we don't really know what happened here. So this is on the backstretch coming to green. I'm trying to figure out who may have caused this wreck. Ryan Martin, he had a pretty far, he was up in the top 5 qualifying wise, and I saw him spun around. So I want to see what happens on this restart here. Coming through 3 and 4. I want to make sure that it was maybe him that caused this or what may have occurred. But we did see Mulder trying to jump to the top here on Sharps. We see Sharps, he's laying back here. So it looks like the 76 gets into the back of Ryan Martin, and around goes the field. Justin Haley involved there, the Peach 5 car. The 05 Aiden Grakey. Lots of chaos here.
Yeah, that was just a very amateur move out of the 76 of Brady Cock. I mean, this is the first start of the race. Everyone should be pretty relaxed, pretty chill. You're not really fighting for much right now as compared later restarts. So for Brady to leave such a big gap and try to get a huge run like that and just being on the throttle that aggressively, I don't really know what his thought process, if there was any, because he took out a lot of drivers, and I'm sure there's a lot of emotions towards him right now.
Yeah, and I don't really know much of what to say here. I, I I don't really know what I saw. There's a lapped car there, the 81, if I'm seeing that right. We're slowing down here, checking out. There's a car in the infield there. Lots of drivers had to tow there. We have a lot of guys a lap down. Trying to look here. It looks like the first car a lap down is Vincent Cortez. That is who the 81 is. Looks like Jack Leslie also a lap down in the 37. Aaron Giffen a lap down. Looks like Aiden Oxidine's a lap down. Looks like we're trying to find Cortez here on track. Looks like Justin Haley lap down. Lots of guys down a lap early here. Man,
I have noticed though that Justin Haley's car is looking like a UMP modified with how much skew that thing now has built into it after that contact. I mean, he is just tracking left while steering right. It is ready for the dirt track.
honestly, Haley, I mean, he definitely got that fast repair in there on that 99 machine. Um, I don't know, man. That was such an interesting thing.
Well, hopefully for Justin Haley, he got all of his bad luck out for the weekend here at GGR in this race, because I would really hope that he could take home some wins when he runs the Talladega Cup race this weekend.
Not just the Cup race, also in that Xfinity race, a win would move him to the next round of the playoffs. So, speaking of wins for Dark Horse Racing, how about getting a team championship over in Wark earlier today in the Dirt Midget Tour? Driver won the championship as well as the team winning the team standings. What are your thoughts on that, Quinn? You think Dark Horse Racing has some momentum here today?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Dark Horse Racing is just one of those programs that's come out for iRacing and really helped develop some drivers. And you can kind of see that on the on-track performance. I mean, we brought in drivers. I say we as in I'm a part owner of Dark Horse Racing. So Dark Horse Racing has brought in some drivers. We've helped them improve, and we're really becoming a cornerstone of iRacing.
Yeah, for sure. Very, very dominant team in pretty much whatever they run. And even though some of their drivers struggle to run certain things, the other guys kind of pick them up. And it's a really balanced team, I think. I really feel like that's a team that's going to be one to look out for here in leagues, especially coming into the NASCAR offseason when some of these dark horse drivers are going to be able to participate a little bit more and open up a little bit. So see what we can do on the sim racing side. So yellow flag was redisplayed here coming to green. They doubled up for the restart. Not sure what the issue was with that yellow flag there, but
I'm getting notification from Race Control that they extended the caution to give all those cars involved with a wreck that are a lap down their lap back, which is that's really good. I'm glad that the stewards took the time to give back to those drivers who kind of lost something from Brady Cox's mistake.
yeah, it looks like Ethan Workman, one of those guys who has to take that wave around, as well as Ethan Harrison. Ryan Martin, Bob Schumacher 2 laps down, Jaden Carter 2 laps down, Austin Duran pulling into pit road. He is 2 laps down. He had that rough wreck at Texas last week, and for him to get caught up in this, crazy. Vincent Cortez on pit road, and RJ Starcevic has officially turned off the computer here. He will not be returning for this race.
You know, we talk about the guys who got caught up in that wreck, but a few people did benefit. Ryan Ayers, he started 13th in this race. It's now up to 6th. Paul Granada started 22nd. He's up to 7th. And Josh Patterson, starting 20th, is now up to 8th. So, you know, a lot of guys lost a lot there as we go green here. But, Raisin,
Wow.
you want to take us through?
Yeah, that was a really interesting restart. We are 3 wide back here with Mulder Sharps and Ryan Ayers. Not too sure what was going on there with that restart, but Blake Kennedy jumped out to a huge lead. Nova Sim Racing going to be 2-3 here potentially. Ryan Ayers looking to the bottom side here of Mulder. This is for P3 as they come off of 4, and they'll officially complete their first lap under green flag conditions. Never mind. Paul Granada's around. Oh my goodness.
A
Granada,
lot of
Ryan
dry.
Martin, and others.
Another yellow flag so quickly. That's we're destroying some Indy cars out here tonight.
Yeah, wow, I am really interested to see what caused this one because, um, let's see here. Here's Paul Granada. He was racing with his teammate Josh Patterson over in that 02. And not sure. Oh, looks like Brady Cox got loose off the corner. Granada had nowhere to go. Looks like Ryan Martin got involved in it. Oh, several cars flying through there. Wow.
This is the second time tonight that Brady Cox has caused an incident. I wouldn't be surprised if the stewards review this and some decisive action is taken.
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty interesting here. I'm not really too sure what to say. That was something. A lot of airborne Indy cars right there. Thankfully, in the virtual world, a wreck like that is not one for concern. These guys have a fast repair that I know of. I'm not quite sure. I haven't checked the info. Somehow Justin Haley is up to 4th after that incident. As it looks like Jay Mulder. Oh. Um. Ryan Ayers spun around here. I'm not too sure what happened to Ryan.
Ryan Ayers also taking the dirt car look as his car's got a lot of yaw to it.
He
Ready for the dirt track at Charlotte next week.
Not sure what happened here. He got wrecked a while back. Oh my goodness. So this is going into turn 1 after the caution had come out. Oh, Garrett A. White just braked in front of Ayers and Mulder.
We talked about this before the race started, though. We're coming off of Texas where it was pretty much wide open throttle the whole time to a track that's requiring a little more skill, and I think you're kind of seeing that skill gap play a big role so far. I mean, a lot of these drivers are just driving incredibly aggressively. And we have a 100-lap race here, and we've wrecked a lot of cars.
I think this is a good time to promote our official race sponsor, race name, all that good stuff. Worry about the exit when you get there 100. As some of these guys look like they are not quite worried about any exit or entry. Doesn't look like they're quite worried about anything, to be honest. So, pacing here under yellow, the only two constants that have been up front all race are Blake Kennedy in 1st, and somehow Anthony Sharps is back in 2nd. He started there, but he was not there after that first green flag lapse. So, Ryan Ayers is around again. I don't know what's going on with Mr. Ayers here.
He's a dirt guy. It looks like he just doesn't quite have a handle yet on these open wheel high downforce cars. And it's really not helping him learn any with the amount of cautions we've had here.
He got turned trying to go by Garrett A. White. I'm very confused right now.
Luckily, Blake Kennedy and Anthony Sharp's just staying up there. They're the only ones that have retained their starting position, 1st and 2nd respectively. So I guess it does pay to qualify well.
Yeah.
And we're proving that here tonight.
Pace truck lights are off, so I guess.
Restarts are single file from now on.
As it looks like somebody was getting a lap back there. Didn't quite catch who it was. Josh Patterson is a lap down, I believe. Yeah, that's who it was that was getting his lap back there. Not sure how Patterson went a lap down in that 02. As Brady Cox is lined up 2 laps down. Ryan Martin is 2 laps down. So Ryan Martin was involved in the first wreck, and I'm noticing he's got a clean car. Did we possibly have a race control error here, and did we give these guys too many quick resets, Quentin?
All I can say is that they have more than one fast repair. They're very lucky tonight.
I would agree. Unfortunately, I don't think it's lucky for the field as Blake Kennedy takes the green and he launches off. Apparently, nobody else really got the memo, as not really anybody really close together right now. Looks like we got Casciola and Workman working together side by side here as we enter turns 3 and 4. Oh, contact! Workman is up on the outside wall. He is in the fence. The fence is splitting the 13 car.
And the caution is back out.
So yeah, apparently the instant replay, they went into 3 and 4 side by side, and Cascio, he kind of ran middle, a little bit of a netcode almost, and Workman went up for a ride. I don't think I've ever seen that. He is stuck in the fence, sliced right down the middle. That is definitely an iRacing physic that I have not ever seen. Well,
Yeah, I'm sorry to our viewers if it sounds like we're struggling, but Brazen and I really weren't expecting this many cautions so early. There's really nothing to talk about with how little racing there's actually been tonight.
I would definitely say last week at Texas is proven to be an early front runner for race of the season. I hope this is not excuse me. I hope this is not any indication of how the season is going to continue forward because I'm not gonna lie, this is a little rough right now. I mean, if you're Blake Kennedy, you're cruising. I mean, you want this race to go green so you can kind of get to the end, get some laps down, but at the same time, you're leading all these laps. Who cares? You're going to get that bonus point for most laps led. You already got the bonus point for getting pole. I mean, you're just cruising right now.
Yeah, we're on lap 15 right now, about to be working lap 16, and we've had 3 cautions already.
I
I
don't
don't know what. I think some team owners need to start talking to their drivers and just calming them down.
I think race control should get on the mic and start calming down the drivers. I mean, at some point you have to kind of take action when race goes kind of haywire like this. So I'm hoping that the hoping that the race control can set things up here, get the drivers calmed down, get them in order because right now this is looking like if NASCAR went to Bristol and said there's no rules.
As the field continues to pace here, some big movers so far, and I say big movers with quotation marks around it because we've been running so many caution laps. Justin Haley started 11th up to 4th. Franco Cacchioli is started 23rd and is now 6th. And Paul Granata started 22nd and is now 9th.
Green, green, green.
As we're back underway, green flag, and once again Anthony Sharps apparently he cannot find the gas pedal on a restart. One guy who seems like he found the gas pedal early though is Haley, as Justin Haley moves to the top side here of Aiden Oxidine, and he's looking to get to the top side of Anthony Sharps too. As Oxidine will now get to the inside of Sharps here. This is all for P2. Haley going to back off his entry here as he watches these two battle on, Oxidine versus Sharps, and we have Garrett White right there in the rear view. As these guys side by side, we actually have some entertaining racing here as we finally completed a lap under green flag conditions. And
Got 4 cars. Go ahead.
I was going to say Anthony Sharp, he dove down low. We have a huge cluster of cars here, Quentin. I'm going to go ahead and let you say it, buddy. I think I know what you were about to say.
There are a lot of cars underneath in a blanket right now.
Yeah, I would say there's probably about 6 cars left in a blanket right now as these guys are going crazy here. Haley will take P2 here as Anthony Sharp's Aiden Oxidine now under attack from Garrett A. White. There's Jay Mulder. He's coming up in the rear view. Or actually, no, that's not Jay Mulder. Excuse me, that's Paul Granata. Granata, the second Nova Sim Racing car, and right next to his teammate Garrett A. White, as I'm a little bit surprised. Jay Mulder not really anywhere to be found right now. In fact, he's 5 laps down from what I'm looking at, so tough break for last week's race winner. As Kennedy has a huge lead, Haley beginning to pull away. Sharps and Oxidine side by side here for P3. Caution.
As the caution's back
Oxidine.
out.
Garrett A. White's back around. Looks like Cashiel is okay. Ryan Ayers, I don't know where the caution was for.
Yeah, I don't believe that caution was for Garrett White and Aiden Oxidine. It had been thrown before they made contact, so the caution came out, and I don't know if they just didn't get the memo, but they just drove right into each other.
Yeah, I kind of want to look here real quick at this incident because I can't really tell who the wreck was on initially. Looked like Oxidine got loose on his own. Oh, this is a lap after. My bad. Oh, okay. So, yeah, looks like Oxidine just got loose. Garrett A. White got clipped. Oh, Ethan Harrison, nowhere to go. Somehow that was not the cause of the wreck here, as we'll pull up the replay. I'm not really sure who was the cause of that wreck at this point in time. We're going to try to look around here. There's Ryan Martin. I'm really not too sure. What do you think that caution was for, Q?
I've been looking over some data, and I can't really seem to find anything in particular.
It looks like it is saying it was Aiden Graeke according to my data I'm reviewing here. That would be the 05. Let's pull him up here, see if he's on the replay. Yeah, that would be Aiden Grakey. A little bit of contact there with Ryan Ayers.
Yeah, it looks like he had some contact, sent him into the wall, and then just couldn't
Oh,
get it back going.
yeah, kind of right there on the backstretch wall. That'll be your cause of the yellow. That was really, really interesting sequence of events there, I guess, if I can put it that way. As Blake Kennedy, he actually has a guy who might know how to restart behind him this time, as Justin Haley has moved up into P2. Anthony Sharp's still P3. I mean, Sharp's, he's shown some speed, but he's lacking on those restarts, Quentin. What do you think it is that's causing him to not really fire off on these restarts here?
Well, they probably went back after Texas last week. They saw on the restarts just guys spinning their tires. They probably talked about it, and they decided maybe we should start in third or fourth gear, try to eliminate some of that wheel spin. But as you've seen tonight, it's really not working out well for him. He's just kind of caught sleeping on the starts.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, I feel like Kennedy's been really predictable. He's gone in the same spot the past two restarts. It just seems like Sharps couldn't quite get it under him here. Kennedy probably going to have to change his timing up, though, see if he can throw off Justin Haley here, a guy who's pretty good on these restarts here. It's kind of part of his job, so... Looks like we got Franco Cacciola. He's up in P4. He was a guy who we still don't really know too much about. New guy to GGR this season. GGR's in its third season here. First two seasons they ran the Legacy Pro Mazdas. And so, yeah, this is going to be interesting for sure. Seeing old Franco here up in the top four. Looks like he's putting himself together a good run. Paul Granada up in the fifth. We saw him take a hard hit early on in this race. We saw Paul up front a lot last week at Texas too. Do you think Paul is putting himself up front as an early contender here, Quentin?
Yeah, that Nova Sim Racing group really shows some speed. And you brought it up. I want to mention that we are missing GGR's most winningest driver, Henry Clappert. He was not able to make the race. I heard he might have missed his flight to Phoenix. So that's a shame for that Outlaw Racing group. But Paul Granada definitely putting himself in a good position here early. But we're only 25 laps into a 100-lap race here.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Henry Clapper. It sucks that we couldn't have the 34 car here tonight. In honor of Henry, though, we do have a special graphic for him. We have the Henry cam right there. You see it in the bottom right corner. That is to honor the GGR all-time race winner. Usually Henry can provide us some great excitement here. He's definitely a very, he has a good legacy here in GGR as we get ready to restart here. And Kennedy will fire off. That was a really weird restart. Sharps laid back a lot. And part of me is kind of wondering if Sharps is going to get penalized because it seems almost like he's been laying back now.
Yeah, Sharps had another weird restart, but I want to talk about Justin Haley. He must have been paying attention to what's happening up front because he is on the tail of Blake Kennedy, your race leader.
Yeah, Justin, he kind of dips down a little bit lower off exit there, really trying to get some clean air over that front wing of his. Do you think that clean air is going to be really good here for these Indycars? Do you think it's going to help Blake Kennedy today?
Yeah, so here at a flat, Phoenix is a flatter track, so you really got to make sure that when you enter a corner and you're falling behind some guy, you got to make sure you have that clean air coming over your wings. So you can see Justin moving up and down, running a little higher, a little lower compared to Blake Kennedy. And he's just trying to make sure that his car's got a lot of downforce going over it because you don't have that banking like you had at Texas to really hold the cars in place.
And I would just like to remind the viewers, Justin did not put down any practice time here, so that's also something to watch out for as back here around the top 5, really separated because of the restart games. And nobody really next to each other right now. Oh, caution is out. Ryan Ayers is around. And Ryan Ayers having himself a rough race. This is his first ever race here in GGR. So let's get a look at what Ryan Ayers was doing here. This is down the back straightaway. Looks like he was side by side with Ethan Harrison as they go through 3 and 4. Oh, looks like he just got the apron. Got the inside wall. Looks like nobody else got involved. So that's good. A little single car spin. Didn't take out too many cars this time, but still, man, these guys having a really hard time getting things together here tonight. I mean, what do you think it is about tonight, Quentin, that these guys just can't get anything done?
Well, Ryan Ayers, you saw him clip the apron, and we saw it last week at Texas. These Indy cars really struggle when you get down on the apron. They just don't really seem to have enough grip to kind of compensate for that lack of banking, as Ryan Ayers has left the session.
Yeah, he's had a rough night. I kind of Kind of saw that coming here as Blake Kennedy tries to fake out Justin Haley going into pit road. It doesn't look like we have any takers here. So Kennedy and Haley still up front here, and Kennedy really solid on these restarts here. Definitely didn't quite get Justin sleeping as much as he has Anthony Sharps, but Sharps is an interesting figure. He had a pretty rough race back at Texas, and now he's up front here, but it seems like he's laying back to me on these restarts. I'm not really sure what it is, but he's really stacking up the guys behind him, and I'm wondering what it is. I mean, I'm still really confused. I mean, Quentin, you're a race car driver on the dirt modified level of things. What do you think it is that's going through Anthony's head right now that maybe is causing him to lay back, miss these restarts or whatever?
I can't speak for him directly. However, I could see a scenario maybe where he doesn't feel like he's faster than Justin Haley and Blake Kennedy, so maybe he's just trying to stack up the field behind him to try to maintain that P3 position. But it's still really weird. I really don't have a good answer for you, Brazen, as the field comes around turn 4.
Yeah, we will be going green this time by Blake
Green
Kennedy
flag,
fires
green
off on the
flag.
top side here. It looks like Justin Haley got a pretty decent restart there, but Anthony Sharps actually got a pretty decent restart there. However, we got
The yellow flag
Paul
is
Granada
out.
clearing for 4th, and we have another wreck. Looks like it's Dimitri Mundros in the 1. And that'll be yeah, another caution here today. I'm not really sure what's getting into these guys. So this
Yeah,
is
there was a lot of talk in the industry prior to this race about the worry coming from Texas. I've said it before, it's a wide open throttle track. Raced a lot like a NASCAR plate track, and now you're seeing these guys really have to tiptoe these things around.
yeah, that was an interesting contact there between Pena and Dimitri Mundros. As yeah, I can't really explain what's going on here. This is wow. I am amazed.
Yeah, I'm just listening to some radio communication between different drivers and their teams. There's really no one happy right now. Even your race leader, Blake Kennedy, is not very impressed with the amount of cautions we're having.
I don't think I would be impressed about anything, to be honest. This is rough. I don't really know what's going on here. Honestly, I mean, if I was race control, I'd honestly be screaming at these guys by now. It's pretty pathetic.
It seems like every team just brought an infinite number of cars, and I really don't know if that was the right call. However, I can't. I'm sorry, I'm just at a loss for words here. We've had 6 or 7 different cautions within 33 laps.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so lost. I don't know what to say. I guess real quick while we're under caution, we can go over some logistics here. Let's go over the weather for today. 89 degrees outside with a 93-degree track temp, so it's a pretty hot track. I don't know if that's maybe part of the reason these guys can't drive or what, but wind speed 5 miles an hour, partly cloudy skies. It's about 4:30 p.m. Eastern time here, which is about 1:30 here in Phoenix. So no humidity in the air at this beautiful 1-mile oval. It's actually located in Avondale, Arizona. Not sure why track information says Phoenix, but we're at an altitude of 957 feet, and we're at the Legacy Circuit. Quinn, would you like to explain to some of these guys who aren't quite familiar with iRacing terminology what a Legacy Circuit is on iRacing?
Yeah, so a legacy track is the older version of a track in real life before it was, repaved, maybe adjusted for the layout. So the legacy is just a chance for these drivers to go back and experience what a track might have been like in the before 4 times.
Yeah, so I mean, I know racing. Wrecks are definitely a part of racing, and you're gonna have one or two. And I know every league has its bad races, but at some point you got to get these guys together. I mean, we are 34 laps into this thing, and we should very well be over halfway by this point. So, I mean, I don't I don't know much of what to say here. You mentioned all-time wins leader here in GGR, Henry Clapper, missing out on today's event. I mean, I can't quite say I blame him. I mean, hopefully that missed flight was actually quietly a blessing for him. as K1 Speed's Employee of the Month gets to just sit back at home and watch whatever's happening here. Pace track lights are off,
Hang on,
so
we're not going green.
never mind. We are not going to go green again, as apparently the green flag has been delayed. I don't know why. Somehow we have only lost 5 drivers. We have lost Bob Shoemaker, Ryan Ayers, Austin Duran, Jack Leslie, and RJ Starcevic. We have several drivers multiple laps down. Dimitri Mundros is 3 laps down. Jay Mulder's 3 laps down. Aiden Grakey's 5 laps down.
Green,
As
green,
apparently
green.
we are going back green, so apparently they called back the delayed yellow. I'm so confused.
A great start, though, by Justin Haley. He is right on the tail of Blake Kennedy once again, and we've got some good racing so far.
Yeah.
Hoping we can stretch this out into a good long green flag run.
Anthony Sharp's under fire from Paul Granata here, and Paul Granata, he's always a guy who will make races interesting for sure. Whether or not you love him or hate him, he's definitely a guy who's always going to try to put on a show for everyone. So hoping to see a show get put on here, something to kind of make up for all these caution laps we've had to run so far. And there's part of the, I mean, there's the guy who I said last week, if you aren't going to win the show, you better be the, Justin Haley has just spun into pit road. I'm not sure if the driver of the 99 is going to call it a night or not. But back up front, Blake Kennedy now leads over Anthony Sharps. Granada P3, Josh Patterson P4.
Yeah, it looks like Justin Haley just kind of clipped the apron there, got a little loose, and just sent it down pit road to try to avoid wrecking, which was a really smart move, really mature driving out of him.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of what you get when you got a professional race car driver. At least somebody knows how to save a race car in this event, because apparently not a lot of these guys do, as Patterson and Granada teammates here. Nova Sim Racing going wheel to wheel there, almost went wheel in wheel there, as these guys are fighting it out right now here for P3. And man, Granada and Patterson putting on a good fight here. This one might be an enjoyable battle to watch here for the next few laps.
I talked about it last week. We're coming out of a last season where they ran Pro Mazdas, which, you know, compared to these old Indy cars, they have a lot less horsepower, a little bit more downforce overall, just compared to your power to downforce ratio. So I think a lot of these drivers are just really being thrown in untested waters here and really just struggling trying to figure this out now that we're not on a wide open track.
Yeah, and a guy that we definitely knew would adapt to something like this is that 02 of Josh Patterson. I mean, last week he had a pretty good run. Came up here for an interview after getting a podium, and right now he's put himself in a podium position here running P3 as he heads into turn 1. But right now the man of the hour, Blake Kennedy, 42 laps led. If he leads to lap 50, he's guaranteed to have the most laps led here in this event.
The yellow
Yeah,
flag is out.
caution is back out.
I don't know what for.
It was Franco Cacchioli.
Yeah, I'm seeing that now. 27, he's got some right front wing damage, so we're going to pull up the replay here and see if we can try to find maybe what happened. Looks like this wreck happened quite a bit back. And it looks like he was battling with Garrett A. White, and Garrett A. White, just knocks him up the track into the outside wall, and he locks it up trying to get off the wall and not wreck anybody. Good job to him just locking it up. I mean, I know it caused a caution, but at least he was trying not to wreck other drivers here, so that's always a positive here. As
yeah, we've seen it out of turn 2 a couple times already where drivers will be side by side and the driver on the inside will just come up the track a little bit too much. I don't know if the spotters are having a hard time seeing from the angle they're standing at, but that has been a bit of a hot spot tonight.
Yeah, as Blake Kennedy pulls down pit road, Anthony Sharps and much of the field will follow him in there as Paul Granada is sideways in his stall. Well, it looks like they still service Granada. So while we're here, let's take a quick look at a mid-race update here. 57 laps to go. We've had 7 yellows. We've spent 25 of the 44 laps we've ran here under yellow, and we have not had a single lead change yet here, as Blake Kennedy has been the only man up top so far.
Yeah, the only one that looks like they've really had anything tonight for Blake Kennedy is maybe the 02 of Josh Patterson and the 99 of Justin Haley. Justin Haley, you know, got a little loose there out of 4. This caution will get him back up and it'll allow him to hopefully, you know, start to fight again. Josh Patterson, though, he was showing some speed. Paul Granada definitely is going to be a factor in this race, but Blake Kennedy just got a bit of a stranglehold right now in this field.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, you mentioned Justin Haley. I think the big thing we have to mention is he's coming from the back, and we've seen how these guys are driving. I mean, some of these guys are really driving very undisciplined right now, and it almost makes me wonder. I mean, it's probably not a good thing for Justin to go to the back here. He's definitely gonna have to fight his way up, try to get himself back up into P2 or even P1 where he was running earlier.
Yeah, I know Ethan Harrison, driver and owner of GGR, was very happy with the car count tonight. The field definitely grew from Texas, and I would attribute that probably to the racing that we had. It was really good long green flag runs, but at some point, do you add more practice for these guys? Because it seems like a lot of these guys, this is their first time out on the track.
Honestly, I wouldn't attribute it to practice. I would attribute it to we came from a full throttle track, lots of banking, lots of room to maneuver, and we come to a flatter track, a track that some might say would take talent and skill. And I feel like that kind of shows what's going on in this league right now, the state of this league. Maybe Ethan Harrison makes some schedule adjustments, maybe takes out some of those short tracks, throws in a little bit more of those 1.5s, and sees if he can try to keep these guys a little more disciplined as the season goes on.
Yeah, as race promoter, Ethan Harrison also has the ability to decrease the engine power. I don't know if that's done with a restrictor plate, maybe a different engine build, but that might be something to look forward to or look into, sorry, because it just seems like a lot of these drivers can't get a handle on these cars.
Well, luckily, if you're a fan of Blake Kennedy, you are definitely happy right now. I mean, unfortunately, you're kind of watching a little bit of a snooze fest here with a lack of green flag racing, but you're happy your driver's winning. We have good news. We have received contact from Henry Clappert, who missed his flight home, or excuse me, his flight to Phoenix. Actually, he lives in his Indycar, so I guess it is a flight home. Henry Clappert has responded to us with a, "Hey man." So good to see that Henry Clappert is here, as Pace Truck will be pulling off in a pit road, and Blake Kennedy will be firing off with a Noxidine behind him this time in P2.
Green flag, green
and
flag.
once again, Oxidine does not go. Paul Granada jumps to the inside there, and I hope he doesn't get a black flag for that because, I mean, that was a really poor restart by Oxidine. He's already half a second behind Blake Kennedy. Nobody, apparently, besides Justin Haley, could fire off behind Blake Kennedy without losing half a second tonight.
I'm just looking a little bit farther back in this field, and we have another car spinning. Caution is back out. Two cars going airborne.
Oh.
I hope they're okay.
Garrett A. White is cartwheeling over the pit road wall. Make that our 8th caution of the night. As driver of the 26 goes up and over, and I believe that was with his teammate Jay Mulder. So this is coming to the green. Apparently the iRacing software tonight is not able to find our incidents here. Oh, Garrett A. White down on the apron just got shoved out of line and somebody got launched. Oh, Garrett A. White flips over his teammate. I don't know who that was that got launched there. Was that Austin Duran? I believe it was. Wow. That is... Wow. I don't really know what to say here.
Well, as a driver, there's got to come a point in the race where, I don't want to say you're an issue, but you really don't have a handle on it. You're not really comfortable behind the wheel of that Indycar. There's got to come a point as a driver where you just kind of take account, you kind of evaluate what's going on, and you just need to calm down. I've seen a lot of these guys fighting as soon as the green flag is displayed, and you can just see the amount of aggression right now. It's just causing these cautions time and time again.
I think another part of the issue is it's hard to go green when second place doesn't fire off. I'm really not too sure. I mean, I don't know what Ethan Harrison can do here as race control, but I hope that there's something he can maybe do about this because, I mean, it seems like some of these guys are laying back, honestly. That's what I'm thinking, and it's kind of ridiculous. I don't know. Well, obviously, that was Oxidine's first restart, so, I mean, maybe that's just why he didn't fire off well. He couldn't time it right with Blake or anything, but I don't really know what's going on here with these restarts. I think that's part of it, though.
Yeah, and I really haven't seen the runs developing. So laying back, I'm really not sure what it's doing for any of these drivers. As we come out of turn 4, the pace truck, is going to go down pit road.
Yeah, so Blake Kennedy stays the leader here as Oxidine pulled into pit road. So Granada will be P2. And, I mean, Granada, he's a guy that I have some hope for getting a good restart here and making something exciting.
Oh, they have thrown the caution and shortened it to 1 to go. So they delayed that restart here. So we're going to take one more lap around under yellow.
Yeah, and I mean, Paul Granada P2. I mean, I'm going over some of the guys that you named earlier as guys to watch out for. Josh Patterson back here in 13th. Justin Haley a couple positions behind in 15th. Really interested to see if Patterson and Haley can work their way through. As Blake Kennedy lines up on the top side here for this restart. We'll see if Paul can get it done here. From P2, Blake fires off on the top side, and for once somebody doesn't lose 1,000 seconds here on Blake Kennedy on this restart here is Granada and Cortez. Pretty decent restarts there. As a little bit further back in the field, we got Haley and Patterson working together here between traffic here, trying to maneuver their way around all these guys. And this might be exciting to see. I'm interested to see if Patterson and Haley can make some exciting action happen. Back up front, Kennedy leads over Granada, Cortez P3, Pena P4, and Ryan Martin P5. Quinn, what do you have your eye on right now?
I am watching the back of the field right now, and I'm just kind of noticing that a lot of the drivers, minus Justin Haley, are single file. Caution is back out. Not sure who that was for.
Yeah, me neither. I can't find anybody who's wrecked. Dimitri Mundros? Was he on track at the time? Was it Mundros? Go back and look. It looks like it may have been Dimitri Mundros. Trying to find where the wreck was. Because honestly, we are not really sure where that wreck may have been. He was kind of towards the back. Looks like a self-spin.
Congratulations, though, to Blake Kennedy on leading the most laps of this 100-lap race. He has so far led 52 of them.
Yeah, I mean, Kennedy, he's kind of getting the easy way out here. I mean, not enough time for a green flag run to form. Not enough time for some of these guys to, you know, get their tires warmed up. And Paul Granada faking going into pit road there. Probably the most exciting thing we've seen in the past lap and a half. Another mid-race update here. 46 laps to go. We've now had 9 caution flags fly today. 33 of the 56 laps ran under caution. So for those of you not very quick at math, that is 23 laps run under green here. 0 lead changes so far tonight, as Blake Kennedy has just pretty much led the whole thing. I mean, there's nothing else to it. So hopefully Granada, Cortez, Pena, Martin, one of these guys can do something. Looks like Justin Haley, Josh Patterson each gained a few positions last restart. I'm keeping an eye on both of those guys as guys to look out for tonight's event. So.
Yeah, Josh Patterson and Justin Haley are really in a prime position here to work together. You know, they ran the 24 hours of Nürburgring together. They got second in top split. I mean, there's a lot of skill between the two of them, both racers in real life.
Yeah, Josh Patterson, of course, very, very well known here in this community for his racing abilities, as he runs slingshots up in the northeastern part of the United States. Meanwhile, Justin Haley, he's an oval track racer around the United States, so really good to have these guys around here. As so far everyone's kind of single filed out back here. Looks like we got Anthony Sharps looking to the inside of Ethan Workman, Ryan Martin with a network issue. Meanwhile, back here, Patterson and Haley. Haley also having a network issue here. He clears a couple guys and cautions out for who?
I don't know if you have the data right now, Brazen. What is the longest green flag run we've had tonight? It can't be more than 4 or 5 laps.
You are correct. It is 4 laps.
I'm just that good at math.
Tonight. That is Yeah, I believe I don't really know who the cause of caution was. I believe it was Ian Grayke. I'm not too sure. Blake Kennedy, 60 laps into this race, and we're gonna pull up the let me see here. Just trying to look at something here. Trying to look at the last time some of these guys went down pit lane. Paul Granada has been down 3 times. He last pit 15 laps ago. Blake Kennedy has been down once, and he last pit 15 laps ago. Pretty much everyone has pit about 15 laps ago, except for this man right here, Jay Mulder. He has not pit for 30 laps, and he's running back here in 16th. So, I mean, maybe here, do you think Jay Mulder takes on a chance to go down pit road?
I mean, they have, I don't, Brazen, what's the exact amount of tires that the teams brought for this race?
I want to say it is 4 sets of tires. So, I mean,
So yeah, we brought 4 sets of tires. I mean, we ran a lot of caution laps, so you're really not going to put that much wear on those Firestone tires. Jay Mulder, I wouldn't be surprised if he comes out. Yeah, he did come down pit road. I think it's a really good strategy call here, really good gamble to take tires and see what you can do with them. Because at this rate we're going, I don't know if these guys are going to go through all of their sets of tires.
I don't even know if these guys are going to get through any green flag laps, to be honest. I mean, this is very interesting racing for sure. I don't think I've quite seen anything like this, but um, Kennedy P1, I mean, that's pretty much the only constant in this race besides the fact that we've constantly had caution flags waving. Good to see Kennedy up front. He's also had himself a rough personal thing going on here the past few weeks, just like Jay Mulder, so glad to see that both of these guys are trying to rebound from their personal struggles here, and Jay Mulder getting the win last week at Texas. Blake, so far, I mean, looking like he might be able to win here tonight at Phoenix. I mean, it's looking really good. We're glad to see that these guys are putting things together here.
Yeah, I know iRacing can get some crap for not being what some would call real racing, and there's the only thing iRacing is really missing is the personal. I don't know what the right word is here. You have to have some courage in real racing, and iRacing doesn't really require that. However, a lot of these guys, this is their form of racing, and you can see that they put in the work, they put in the effort, they love iRacing, they love racing. And so for a lot of these guys, it means a lot to be able to come out here and run in these leagues. And unfortunately, tonight we're just not having enough green flag runs for them to really showcase their talents.
Yeah, and part of the personal struggle I was talking about with Blake Kennedy is his struggle has been with this league. Honestly, that's his personal struggle. He had a rough championship race last season. There's a little bit of controversy surrounding the finish of that championship race, and ultimately himself and the other championship competitor ended up disqualified. And Blake unfortunately wasn't able to pull that championship out, and so ever since then, I mean, he's really been looking forward to the start of this season, and that's what I was meaning with those personal struggles. Is he had that really rough, a lot of controversy there with that championship race. He's trying to move on from it, and he's trying to move on from just a lot of the stuff in general. He's really stepped back his ownership role in GGR to kind of focus on his driving, and I think it's doing him some good here. As like I said, he was kind of in and out of the top 5 last week. I mean, he didn't have a spectacular night, but he had a pretty solid night last week at Texas. And for him to come out here tonight, get the pole, and apparently the pole was the fortune cookie for him because he is up here, led 62 laps so far, and I mean it's only going to continue to grow here. As right now the way we're looking, we might have another caution or two here in the next 5 laps. As Pace Truck will make the hard left turn on a pit road, and Kennedy will fire off. Granada P2, Nick Pena up to P3. Josh Patterson up to 6th and Haley up to 7th. Remember, those are the 2 guys that I wanted to mention as drivers to watch aside from Paul Granada. So it'll be interesting to see what those guys are able to put together here if we get any sort of green flag run here.
Well, last week we had a sold-out crowd at Texas, and it looks like this week we also have a sold-out crowd. The grandstands are absolutely packed. Ethan Harrison must have been at Kroger again just handing out flyers, which is good for the series. However, I'm not sure these fans are really getting the show that they were wanting tonight.
Yeah, I mean, as I said last week, Ethan Harrison, he's a grocery bagger by day, GGR IndyCar racer by night, and surely he's going to have to hand out double the flyers next week at Kroger to try to pull some fans back in, because he's going to have to prove that what we saw at Texas is truly what the state of this league is, and that tonight was just a little bit of a fluke for the series. As back up front, Paul Granada, he is slowly reeling in Blake Kennedy. Another guy to kind of watch here, Outlaw Racing's Ethan Workman. He was the guy who we saw riding on top of the wall. Somehow his car ended up inside of the fence, you know, just some iRacing physics. And Ethan Workman now making the move to the inside for P3, and don't look now, Josh Patterson is right there with him, and not too far back is Justin Haley. It's 3 wide here going into 3 and 4. Patterson on the bottom, Workman in the middle, Pena on the top side.
Yeah, a little contact there, but they kept it rolling. It didn't look really big, like they didn't damage the car, didn't spin out. I think we're getting close here to what might be our longest green flag run.
Yeah, and Patterson is making it interesting. He's jumped from, I believe it was 7th on that start up to 3rd, and he's reeling in teammate Paul Granada here, who's stayed pretty consistently about 3/10 behind Blake Kennedy here. So I'm interested to see if Patterson is really able to put the work in here and get things done, as Justin Haley's also catching the guys that Josh Patterson just got by, and Jaden Carter and Brady Cox in a little bit of a battle here, as well as Aaron Giffen. Looks like Franco Cacciola is also there, as Giffen dives it down to the inside of Cox here, coming off of 4. They're going to be side by side.
Yeah, Blake Kennedy is just, you know, he just has a stranglehold on this field. I mean, no one seems to be able to touch him tonight. And Paul Granada, he's running P2 right now, and it doesn't seem like he's really gaining anything.
Yeah, and I mean, he's not really losing either. It's just, like I said, it's really consistent right now. He's just running the same lap times, and Josh Patterson has really reeled in Granada here, and so I'm excited to see if Granada, I mean, they are teammates, but I know who Paul is. He's definitely not a guy who's just going to let you by, so we'll see how that's looking here. Well, we got a car on the apron. That's Ryan Martin. As he is.
Yeah, really mature out of Ryan Martin, though, to keep it on the apron and out of the driver's way, to try to give these drivers that green flag run. Really mature.
Yeah, he has
out of Ryan Martin.
Severe right side damage. Not sure what happened to him. The last car on the lead lap right now is Ethan Harrison, P15. He's had a rough race. He's been involved in a couple wrecks that were definitely not his fault. He just had nowhere to go, and he's probably having a hard time right now because, as we mentioned, he is a grocery bagger at Kroger. I'm not actually sure of his official job title, but so he was handing out Kroger flyers for this event, and obviously he's also having to run the event, and he's also having to drive in the event, so he's got a lot on his plate here in that 77, and he's actually making a move here on Vincent Cortez, and he's actually gaining a little bit on Aiden Oxidine, so I'm interested to see if that 77 can gain some position here. Maneuver his way into the top 10, as don't look now, Josh Patterson is taking P2 from Paul Granada.
Yeah, I'm really happy we got this green flag run going eventually, because you can see the skill level of some of these front runners right now, just trying to find every advantage, every bit of speed they can, just trying to get closer to Blake Kennedy.
Oh, Patterson
as Josh Patterson clips the apron,
there it is.
Contact.
Man, I was about to say, if you're Blake Kennedy, one of the guys you don't want to see in that rearview mirror is this 02, and very rare driver mistake from Patterson. I don't think I've really ever seen that out of him before, as yeah, it looks like he just got the apron in a 3, was really hunting down Blake Kennedy there. Yep, just left front on the apron, really tried to lock it up, light contact with Ethan Workman, but unfortunately, what we consider light contact, I mean, there really isn't such thing in an IndyCar, so you think Workman and Patterson are going to have to come down pit road here?
With the amount of replacement parts and replacement cars, I don't really see a reason for them not to. You really don't know how much damage your car has, and it's kind of sketchy firing off as a driver, especially in one of these high downforce, kind of fragile cars, and not really knowing what the damage is like, because it can be pretty detrimental to have a tore-up race car.
Yeah, and looks like Justin Haley was coming off of pit road. Not sure what happened in there. Josh Patterson is going to go down pit road here probably. Ethan Workman is heading down, so is pretty much everyone, so Patterson may catch a little bit of a break here. Actually, excuse me, Workman might catch a little bit of a break here from P3 that the leaders decided to come down here. Paul Granada's passing on pit road. I hope he's not speeding. We might be able to see that 04 capitalize here. I want to see how the pit stops go for him.
Yeah, with those drivers coming down, Frank Caccioli will inherit the lead here. So I think that's the highest. Well, he's the only person so far to take that top spot from Blake Kennedy.
Our first lead change of the night comes under yellow. Great stop by Blake Kennedy here. And I'm interested to see if that 27 Looks like the 9 of Aaron Giffen also stays out. So does Jay Mulder. Anthony Sharp, Aiden Oxnine. Quite a few drivers stayed out. The top 6, it looks like. So it's going to be interesting. Vincent Cortez has a little bit of rear end damage. Or, excuse me, rear wing damage. And you see that thing's a little bent out of shape. Justin Haley is a lap down. Looks like Dimitri Mundros is also a lap down, as is Ryan Martin, who is coming in to get some of that right side damage repair. Remember, we saw Ryan Martin, he was kind of on the apron earlier, where we weren't quite sure how he got that left side damage, or excuse me, right side damage, but...
Yeah, Justin Haley's going to get the wave around here.
I'm excited to see if the 99 and 02 can go through the field again.
Yeah, we saw him do it already. Josh Patterson got up to second. Justin Haley got up to fifth. I mean, they definitely have the speed here tonight. They were getting held up by slower cars, and I think that might have been reason why Justin Haley had some issues. But, you know, that was a good green flag run. I kind of wish we had more of them tonight. We're working lap 77 here of 100. And, you know, true to the race name, we have been worried about the entry and not worried about the exit all night.
Yeah, good time to promote that. I mean, don't forget tonight's event is called the Worry About the Exit when you get there 100. As you see at the top of that little sign right there, all entry, no exit. A little bit of a car crash symbol, and we didn't quite know that the name of this race was going to be a little bit of a prelude to tonight's events, but it's pretty unfortunate.
Yeah, I really feel for Ethan Harrison right now. I mean, he is both the driver and race controls, so he's really working overtime here, just trying to make sure everyone, you know, calms down and we can get some green flags run-ins here.
Yeah, I mean, I feel bad for Ethan Harrison. I personally know how it is as to be on race control and to be a driver, and when you're having a little bit of a rough race, and I don't honestly think I've ever dealt with one that's been as rough as this with these drivers, but I definitely know that he's not he's in a very rough position right now, so very good of Ethan to try to overcome this, and he's just trying to put on a good show for everyone, put on a fun league for everyone, and you can't really blame him for that. But I believe some fun might be about to occur here, because Franco Casciola, the first guy not named Blake Kennedy to lead some laps here at Phoenix Raceway, and he's got about 5 other guys behind him who haven't really seen the front here, so I'm excited to see how this goes. Pace truck pulled off. Franco Casciola, he gets the call to green whenever he wants, and he will fire off quickly here. Aaron Giffen for Outlaw Racing P2. We haven't talked too much about him tonight.
And, yeah, that pit, Jay Mulder pitting when he did, I know we talked about earlier in the broadcast, that was a really smart decision. Yes, he's up into P3, he's got some fresh tires, and I really haven't seen tire degradation really be a big issue tonight. So really good call by that race strategist for Jay Mulder.
And I'm looking back here, lots of these fast guys, Workman, Granada, Kennedy, they are mid-pack now, having to work their way through the field. And Patterson and Haley, 2 of our guys to watch out for. They've made some moves there. As you see, Ethan Harrison, he's right in line behind Justin Haley right there. As back up front, Aaron Giffen exits a little bit lower than Franco Casciola. And can we see Aaron Giffen possibly take the win here? For those of you who don't know, Aaron Giffen, that is Oregon Diecast, the premier sponsor of this series. And right behind him, P3, that is Nova Sim Racing's Jay Mulder, who won last week. And Mulder going for a send. Didn't quite make it work there as they head off of 4. Lots of slicing and dicing here as Granada kind of being held up right now by Kennedy. Kennedy struggling to get through the traffic here. And Workman and Granada are really sticking with Kennedy here. So if Kennedy's able to get back to the lead on these fresh tires, I'm not sure he'll pull away, as Granada and Workman, 2 guys really hungry for a win here, might be able to get it here, as Granada is actually going to make the move to the top side here on Kennedy.
Caution, yellow flag.
And Brady Cox goes around here. Quentin, did you see anything about that? Oh.
Yeah, I'm looking at our little broadcast screens here, and Brady Cox was running the top, came down out of 4, hit the apron, as we've seen multiple times tonight, and then hits the trash can water canisters on the entry to pit road.
Well, that was kind of shaping up to be interesting. Kennedy, Granada, Workman moving through the field together, and Granada was about to put a move on Kennedy. I mean, we are under 20 laps to go here. And I kind of feel bad for Patterson and Haley. They're trying to go from the back to the front here, and they might not have enough time to do this under green. They've both been really good, so honestly, I mean, we're looking here at the top 4, and do you think that Casciola, Giffen, Mulder, Sharps, any of these guys who stayed out, do you think any of these guys have a shot to pull a win out here?
Yeah, so Franco Caccioli was actually running the fastest laps in that green flag run. So it's kind of showing that being out front, having that clean air is really good for your lap times here. So I don't know if Blake Kennedy really has anything for him, but Franco's in a great spot right now.
Yeah, Franco, I mean, like I said, we haven't talked too much about him. He was up to 4th earlier. He unfortunately got involved in a wreck earlier, but he's used those fast repairs. And if you aren't familiar with iRacing terminology, a fast repair pretty much means if you get wrecked, no worries. You can head down pit road. They will completely repair your car. You'll have all your body panels back on, and everything will be good to go. And, yeah, Franco Casciola, I mean, this guy is in prime position to possibly win here. But don't look now. Blake Kennedy's up to 4th as Aaron Giffen has pulled into pit road. The driver of the 9 decided maybe he couldn't make it on fuel or something to the end.
How about you, Brazen? But I am really excited for the post-race interviews and kind of just see what these drivers are thinking right now. I'm sure they'll be very kind and considerate to their fellow competitors.
I don't even know what to expect out of any post-race interview, and we could probably take any 3 drivers from this race without it having to be the top 3, and I feel like we're going to get some similar interviews here, but hopefully, man, I would really like to see a green flag run here these last, looks like we're going to have 13 laps when we get back green flag, so, or actually it'll be 14 laps when we go back green flag racing, so, man, I'm really hoping we go green here. This is going to be exciting. I really want to see if Kennedy, Granada, and Workman, these 3 have been together here. Really interested to see if these guys can each get up to the top 3 positions again and battle it out.
Yeah, it's going to be really exciting here. I think hopefully we get the next 13 or 14 laps under green flag so these drivers can fight it out. But the race isn't really trending that way. I hope these drivers can prove us wrong.
Me too, as Franco Casciola lines up here. Rookie here in GGR, it would be pretty spectacular for him to win in just his 2nd ever start. Coming off the top side here, he will bunch it up, fire off here. Mulder spins the tires a little bit. Sharps doesn't really fire off, and Kennedy is going to have to dive to the inside here. It looks like he's going to back off his entry for the moment here as I head through 1 and 2. Ooh,
yeah, we got 4 or 5 cars right now that you could throw a blanket on and, you know, it would cover them all.
Oh, we had a little bit of a battle for the lead. Excuse me, sorry. Jay Mulder was peeking to the outside for a moment here on Franco Casciola. Now he's diving to the inside. Jay Mulder, wow. He went for a little bit of a Takuma Sato sin right there. Couldn't quite make it work there. But here comes Kennedy, Granada, and Workman surging their way to the front.
Yeah, I saw Jay Mulder kind of peek to the inside there, and it looked like he was trying to just get in there and try to get the gap formed. You know, he's really smart and mature. Yep, there. He's on the inside.
I don't know, smart, mature,
contact.
Jay Mulder, but they are definitely not going to be it because Mulder is up and over, and this is looking like the past weekend of his life, just flipping up and over down the back straightaway here, and he's spinning the tires there. I don't think he knows that he only has about 2 of them on the ground. So this was coming off the final lap, and I wanted to bring us back here because I really wanted to see that sin he had on the 27 of Casciola. Watch here. Mulder, he dove it down in there, got that right front right there, but he washed up the track into Casciola, up and over Anthony Sharps, and right there gets tagged by Aiden Oxidine, and he goes flying through the air. And honestly, I think I could hear the sigh from Jay Mulder, followed by the loud bashing of his keyboard. Probably not too happy under the hood of that race car there in that 51. But
yeah, Jay Mulder was really just a innocent victim there. Franco Caccioli, I think that's just some of his immaturity. You know, not really. You know, as you said, he's kind of a rookie here in GGR, and I just don't think he was ready out of 4 to be fighting that aggressively.
Honestly, I don't know. I mean, looking at that incident from my perspective, it kind of seemed like Jay Mulder expected something out of Franco, and it turns out maybe he didn't know. He doesn't know Franco too well because he's only known him for a couple of races, and I think he just expected more out of him, and um, probably just doesn't quite actually truly know what to expect here out of Franco yet.
So we're looking lap 91 of 100 here. We're trending towards a couple green-white cautions, maybe. And I say that not as hoping, but I am hoping that we actually go green.
I am also hoping that we go green here because Kennedy up to second, Granada third, Workman fifth here. I really want to see these guys battle it out, especially on these fresher tires. I really want to see if Granada can put something together here.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, if Blake Kennedy gets the lead and wins, you can't say he didn't earn it. He did come from the back here. He's been fighting all night. He led the most laps. I mean, albeit under caution, but he's definitely worked his way back up, and he's in a great position here. We've seen him have great restarts all night.
Yeah, I mean, Blake, most of those great restarts were while he was leading this thing, so we'll see how he fires off here from P2. He's really going to get a good indication here on Franco Casciola, and we'll see if Blake is able to put the send on Franco that Jay Mulder just attempted, just hopefully without the same outcome that Jay Mulder ended up facing. As pace truck lights are still on, this caution feels pretty long. Well, Quentin, under 10 to go. I think we're going to go over a little mid-race update. Do you want to do this one?
I'll let you have this one. I'm just monitoring some communication. Hopefully I can get back to you here in a few once you get done with that mid-race update.
All right. Well, we have 8 laps to go. We're going to have 7 laps to go when we go back green flag racing this time by as pace truck lights are out. We've had 13 cautions so far in this race. 50 of the 93 laps ran here have been ran under caution, and we have only had 1 lead change. That is Franco taking the lead from Blake after Mr. Kennedy has led majority of this one. So Blake Kennedy trying to put himself back up front there. Looking at some of that radio communication, Quentin, what do you have for me, bud?
Well, I'm getting some notification from race control that Jay Mulder was deemed to be at fault for that incident, and he was given an EOL penalty. So he'll have to start at the back of the field. I mean, he did spin. I don't know where he was running prior to giving that EOL, but that's definitely going to put a hurt on his night.
Yeah, Jay's had it rough, and looks like the going's only going to get tougher for that 51 as pace truck pulls off here. Franco Casciola, he's got Blake Kennedy right on his rear wing, and what a great restart by Kennedy. Granada, Sharps, and Workman all bunched up behind him, and hopefully this thing goes green long enough that Kennedy is able to time everything right. And look here, Blake Kennedy going to the inside of Franco Casciola for the lead. Paul Granada may have slipped up too much to let Blake get out there, as the 04 can't quite get by Franco here.
The yellow flag is out.
Caution's back out.
Oh! Aaron Giffen and Brady Cox go up and over.
Yeah, so I'm also monitoring some radio communication between Franco Casciola and his team. And Franco, after the green flag came out, entering turn 1 and exited 2. Go ahead.
3 cars flipped it. Just looking at this replay, Nick Pena went up and over, and then that caused Aaron Giffen and Brady Cox to go up and over too. Go ahead and continue with your radio communications with Franco Casciola.
Yeah, so the 27 of Franco was reporting some wheel damage, and we talked about it earlier. You know, you have unlimited cautions, and he deemed it not imperative to take it. So when he restarted, he realized very quickly he had some damage there.
Well, that kind of sucks for Paul Granada, because I think this is just going to give Blake Kennedy the win here. And I mean, you can't say Blake doesn't deserve it. It just be a little nice to have some action here, as it's been a pretty rough race. So a good finish would have at least kind of hidden some of the rough racing we've had so far.
So Brazen, you're a bit of an iRacer yourself. That's kind of, you know, you've never really done some real racing, even though I've tried to put you in one of my modifieds. But you know, as an iRacer, you're looking and watching this event. It kind of looks like a rookie, maybe a D-class race. You know, What do you do next week in preparation for the next race to make sure that this doesn't happen?
Well, one of the big things, as pace truck lights are off, by the way, with road racing is you can always go back and run rookie global Mazdas. And so I think some of these drivers might want to go back and run a couple of those races and see what they can do in those, see if they can learn any tactics there, as Franco Casciola does not get going, and this will pretty much effectively end any of the action we have unless we get a caution, which honestly, now that I think about it, is honestly pretty good possibility, as Granada will easily move to second. A little bit of slicing and dicing back here for several positions as Josh Patterson goes around, and that'll be it. Blake Kennedy, he's got a big lead here, and I think he's going to be the only one to lead these last few laps here. Is probably now is about the time we're not going to get a caution. And if you're Paul Granada, you're definitely a little bit frustrated under the hood of that race car as to why Franco Casciola didn't pit with wheel damage. It's coming around turn 4, 2 laps to go here. Blake Kennedy, he's led the most of them here. Started from the pole position.
Yellow flag.
Oh.
Caution is out.
Dimitri Mundros stopped on the front straightaway there.
Blake Kennedy has got to be furious under the front wing of that race car.
Yeah, I mean, we got the two Dr. Pepper 711 cars going at it here. Looks like Mundros got the apron. Jaden Carter had nowhere to go. And, or excuse me, that's not Jaden Carter, is it? Is it? Who's the 7 car? That is Jaden Carter. Okay. I had to make sure here. It's start of the season. You got to familiarize yourself a little bit here. Well, what do you think is going to happen here on this last restart, Quinn? We know who Paul Granada is from looking at the TNT series, from running in WARC, from running here. We are very, very, very familiar with Paul Granada, especially here on WARC TV. If you are a WARC TV fan and viewer, what do you think this 04 might do here on this restart, Quentin?
Well, we've seen Paul Granada in that 04 Indycar be really aggressive in other series, and I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to make something happen. At this point, though, I think Blake Kennedy has this under lock. He's been restarting really well, and it really doesn't seem like if you're running second, you have a really good run out of turn 2. So as long as Blake Kennedy can keep it underneath him, stay smart, I think he's got this win locked. He is my pick for this race.
Yeah, I mean, Blake Kennedy, honestly, it's hard to really pick anybody else. I mean, I honestly, it's kind of down to Kennedy and Granada if Casciola is going to stay out with this damage here, try to work his way through. And so, like I said earlier, if you're a fan of Blake Kennedy, ultimately this race was a little bit more enjoyable for you than honestly it probably was for us here in the broadcast booth, having to deal with so many cautions. And hopefully next week the drivers can clean things up and we can pick back up to hopefully a little bit better better racing next week.
I just want to stress that I know Ethan Harrison's probably going to catch some flack after the race. However, I'm not quite sure this is on him as much as it is just kind of the aggression level coming into this race. And I really think that Texas last week, it being wide open, as we discussed in this broadcast already, I think a lot of these drivers are caught off guard by the amount of skill and technical ability they would need.
Yeah, I mean, Phoenix was definitely a track. I mean, the Legacy Phoenix itself, it's a more worn out track surface. So you really have to take that into account. This track is just going to be a lot rougher on these IndyCars. And so I'm very excited here to see how things play out. And
you know, I think they should have covered Phoenix in dirt for this race.
I mean, wouldn't be bad, honestly. I think we'd get a little bit better racing out of these guys. Next week we go to a road course. Next week is a doubleheader, so just take a look at that. That's gonna be fun. As Blake Kennedy will fire off a 4 here,
Green flag,
and
flag.
looks like Ethan Workman. He knew Franco Casciola. He had that wheel damage, so he's trying to make something happen, get himself up into third. As Workman and Granada, nothing here for Blake Kennedy. As the 75 will round through turns 3 and 4. Coming off of turn 4, the white flag will be waving here. Blake Kennedy will take it. And finally, we will have a little bit of a green flag run in this race, albeit on a green-white checkered. Nobody is close enough to get to Kennedy here. Paul Granada is the only shot, and I don't think he's got enough for it. Coming through 3 and 4. Blake Kennedy in the 75, he took the pole, he suffered through this race, and he's going to come off victorious here at Phoenix. Paul Granada P2, Ethan Workman P3, and Vincent Cortez and Franco Casciola round out the top 5 here. Oh, lots of wrecking happening after the finish here. But Blake Kennedy, this is the man of the hour right here. Looks like Paul Granada is going to go tell him good job on the win. Ethan Workman and Blake Kennedy, they're both Outlaw Racing teammates, so a good 1-3 there for the Outlaw Racing guys. Good to see that one play out, and we'll see if Blake burns it down here, especially for all of his fans right here. It looks like he's got a few of them.
Yeah, I know this race was really plagued by a lot of yellows. However, Blake Kennedy did put on a show. He put on a lot of heaters, and he was definitely in control this whole entire race. So if anyone was going to win, I think well-deserved Blake Kennedy.
Yeah, man, I'm really interested to see if Blake is going to burn it down here. First win of the season for the 75. Like I said, he's a previous GGR champion. He's got another championship race coming up this Sunday, going for the Warkai Racer 95 MX5 Cup Challenge Championship. So if you're a fan of Blake Kennedy, go check him out. Soak Tires Broadcasting Sunday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, as he goes to try to win something else here. But for now, all the focus is on this big win here at Phoenix. As I said, Blake Kennedy, a little bit of controversy after last season's finale. He's worked his way around it, and it seems like he's prevailed because he takes home the big win. Well, folks, don't go anywhere, especially if you're interested in hearing how these drivers, hearing some of their thoughts on the races, as we will be going into post-race interviews after this commercial break. The field is rolling on the back straightaway.
Get ready, this is going to be tight. Out of turn 4, ladies and gentlemen. The All-American 400 is underway.
Gotta be careful, the bumps here can get you every time. Entering the corner, exiting the corner. All right, folks, well, welcome back here. Time for some post-race interviews here. I will not keep you guys waiting, as we're going to pull in your race winner, Blake Kennedy. Blake, you are in the Work TV booth, bud. Do you have a copy?
Yeah, I do.
Well, Blake, I have many questions. At the same time, I almost have none. It was definitely one of the more weird races here in GGR, and honestly, looking at the early times of GGR, I would say this is more of your typical GGR race from those times, and I guess, unfortunately, on occasion, you're going to have your run-ins with a bad race, but luckily for you, it ended up not being too bad because you took the pole, and that ended up being your saving grace. What do you think it was about tonight that was able to just keep you up front and out of the traffic of all the cautions and stuff?
Getting that pole, really. Yeah, just staying up front. Played my strategy right. When I was able to pit, I brought most of the field with me except for that one time. But I was able to battle through that, and the dirty air here was just horrible. Um, you saw Paul behind me most of the race, and same with Justin as well in the earlier parts, and they couldn't pass me just because how bad the air was. So just maintaining the lead was what got me this victory.
Yeah, you did a great job out there, Blake. I mean, that was a really dominant performance. I know it was kind of plagued by some yellows. I mean, what was your opinion on some of those drivers out there with just repeated incidents?
I mean, I was frustrated, because there's so many times where I got a great, jump on the restart, and I pulled a second gap on a few people, and if we just cruised a while there, I felt like I could have easily had a better shot, even though I still won the race. It's just more comforting that way. But yeah, I don't know. That race was probably one of the worst races I've ever won.
Well, I know you're a racer at heart, and you would have liked to have had some more green flag runs there, and really fight for it a bit more than you did. But not taking anything away from your win, you did an outstanding job tonight. So
Yeah, thank you.
congratulations.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Blake, before we let you go, bud, do you have anybody you want to thank?
Um, I want to thank you guys for broadcasting. I know it's probably a struggle up here, and you cracked a few jokes on a few drivers, so at least you guys kept it entertaining, even though it was a caution fest. And I want to thank Paul for racing me hard, but also very clean. He didn't do any stupid dive bomb moves on me when I was kind of blocking him down the front. But you know, um, I had to do that, and that's racing. So I'm glad we were able to finish it out 1-2, and yeah. Hopefully next week I can repeat this.
Yeah, well, you mentioned Paul Granada, a Nova Sim Racing driver. They won week one, while Outlaw Racing won week two. Both of you guys, very strong teams to start the season. So, Blake, we're glad to have you up here in the interview booth. Unfortunately, sorry that you didn't get to really show too much of your green flag pace, but we're glad you were up here, bud. Hopefully, we see you next week up here again.
Yeah, hopefully. Thank you guys.
All right, folks, that was Blake Kennedy, your race winner for tonight's event here at Legacy Phoenix, as we're going to look to try to pull in Paul Granada up here into the booth. Paul, you're in the Work TV booth, bud. Do you have a copy?
I do.
Well, Paul, it was definitely an interesting one. We pretty much said the same thing to Blake. I mean, this was far from entertaining, but hopefully something that you never want duplicated again. Is with all those constant restarts and stuff, do you feel like that kind of hindered your ability to really try to race Blake here for the win tonight?
No, this race sucked. Honestly, nice job to Blake on the win. It sucked. I really don't even know what again. We had talented drivers. We had talented drivers. The cautions didn't really help. We needed green flag runs to really set up the racing. I knew Blake was really good. I felt like once we got like 3-4 laps into a run, I was able to close the gap just a little bit. I suck at restarts. I got to get better at that. Yeah.
Yeah, so you on that last restart, you were second. Did you at any point feel like you had anything? I know dirty air was kind of a big factor running outside of P1 there. Was there anything you could have done, you think, to maybe get the win tonight?
No, the 27 shot me before I got by him before that yellow came out. It gave me nose damage. I don't know what the 27 says he was. He was an idiot all race long. The final restart, my best option was to send it to 2-1 and about plowed the wall. Dirty air sucked. I was just kind of hoping Blake would make a mistake that he didn't make.
Well, Paul, yeah, unfortunately, Blake didn't make a mistake. He's usually a pretty clean driver, and a pretty good driver at that. So, Nova Sim Racing first last week, second this week. I mentioned it to Blake. Outlaw Racing and Nova Sim Racing look like the two strongest teams this season. Before we let you go, do you have anybody you want to thank tonight?
You guys are putting this, putting the broadcast on at least. It was pretty bad on my end. I was getting tired of driving. Nova Sim Racing once again. Teamwork is it worked for a little bit, and then we had some issues with some drivers screaming in my ear about getting wrecked on the yellow. You guys don't know who that is. Nova. Everybody that watched tonight. Ethan for putting the league on. He got a lot of shit tonight that he didn't deserve. Yeah, that's about it.
All right, everyone. Well, that's Paul Granada, P2 tonight. Thank you, Paul, and good luck next week.
You too.
All right, we apologize for fogging out his language there. You're getting pretty raw emotion here from some of these drivers, so a lot of not too happy guys about tonight's events here, the way this race panned out. We're going to bring in P3, Ethan Workman. Ethan, you're in the Work TV booth, buddy. Do you have a copy?
I do have a copy.
Well, it's been a while since we've had you in the Work TV booth. Granted, it was in a little bit of a different league. We're glad to have you here, though. The Outlaw Racing Camp is sure happy to see you and your teammate Blake Kennedy finish first and third. We've pretty much asked the same questions to Blake and Paul. The way these cautions panned out, do you really think that it hindered your ability to kind of make any moves to try to go for the win here tonight?
Well, in my opinion, I didn't think I had a fast enough car for the win because I believe Blake had the fastest car all race, no doubt about that. But if there was a way I could get the win, I felt like I was good on like the long runs because like on one run, 15 laps, I gained like 4 spots. But that's besides the point. Congrats to Blake on the win. And I just got a good result out of P3 by going on the same strat as them.
Yeah, Ethan, this is Quentin Haley. What do you think was a issue tonight with some of those drivers out there? I mean, we had a lot of cautions, and from our perspective, it just looked like everyone was really aggressive, and they weren't really prepared for the flatter Phoenix compared to Texas. So, just what are your thoughts about tonight's race?
Honestly, I should have expected it because I think Ethan accidentally had unlimited fast repairs that made everybody more aggressive, like jump the starts more, like make it 3 wide and all of that. That definitely affected the race with the yellows because like if we even had like only 1 repair, there would still be yellows, but not as much as we did tonight. And plus, obviously, I don't want to call anybody out, but people hitting the apron, spinning by themselves were the majority of the part of the race that caused the yellow.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the apron there for sure. We saw, luckily, a couple guys who were able to not cause cautions from it. The one that comes to my mind is Justin Haley. He went down pit road instead. But yeah, unfortunately, some of those guys, they just kept getting the apron, caused a few cautions, and yeah, kind of sucks for you that you didn't really get to race it out under green flag conditions, but we appreciate you racing, and hopefully we see you here next weekend, Ethan. But before I let you go, do you have anybody you want to thank tonight?
I would like to thank Outlaw Racing and my teammates Blake Kennedy, who competed in this race and won the race. I would like to say congrats once again to Blake.
All right, Ethan. Well, good to see you back up here in the Work TV broadcast booth. Hopefully next week we can bring you up here, but hopefully it's for a little bit different reason, being first or second place. Congratulations, Ethan, on the podium, and we'll see you around.
All right.
All right, guys, that was Ethan Workman. He took home P3 tonight, running out the podium. And that'll do it for tonight here from Legacy Phoenix Raceway here for the worry about the exit when you get there 100. And sure enough, these guys did not worry about exit or entry or pretty much anything all night long. 15 cautions tonight, Quentin. What are your thoughts next week? We have a double header. We're going to do the Homestead Road Course. It's actually called the Homestead Roval. And then we're going to turn around and we're going to move the barriers around and run the Homestead Oval. What do you think is going to happen next week?
Well, Homestead, the oval at least, is going to be a much more bank track here than Phoenix, so I'm expecting some pretty big runs out of people, pretty much wide open around the track. I'm really excited to see these drivers on their first road course of the schedule, and I know road courses can really be the separator of the talent and the talentless.
Yeah, well, hopefully we're going to a road course, a track that definitely will take some skill and talent. So we'll see maybe some guys like Josh Patterson, Blake Kennedy, some of those guys will prevail there, and then we'll get to Homestead, and it takes a little bit less skill and talent. So hopefully that'll make it a little bit better race. Hopefully we get back to the state of the league when we were running Texas, and we can just kind of forget about tonight. But well, thank you, Quentin, for coming in the broadcast booth with me tonight, and thank you to everyone who is coming in and watching tonight's festivities here of the Worry About the Exit When You Get There 100 here at Legacy Phoenix Raceway. We thank Oregon Diecast for coming on board to sponsor the GGR Indycar Series this season. Go check them out on Instagram at Oregon Diecast. We thank everyone for tuning in tonight to GGR. It's been a blast trying to entertain you guys through tonight's race. Not every race is going to be the best, but trust me, these guys are trying, and hopefully they'll put together a great show next weekend for you guys. We thank everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you guys around. This is Bryson Collins.